So for this problem, first thing as always is put it in standard form. So in order to get it to standard form, we've got to move this negative 5x to the other side of the equal sign. So I'm going to add 5x to move it. Okay, notice that I've got an x squared here. That is not a like term. So an x squared is not a like term. It's got to be a straight up x. So this one has no like terms. So I need to just nestle it in there somewhere. Remember, we've got to get it into standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So I'm going to make sure my x squared goes first. So I've got x squared. Next, I've got plus 5x. And finally, I've got my 5 equals 0. So now that it's in standard form, I'm ready to decide which way to solve it. So this one, because it's got a b term, right, I need to solve it using the quadratic formula. So my next step is to identify a, b, and c. So a, b, and c. So we know a is the number in front of x squared, and there is no number, so there's an invisible 1 there. So a is 1. Okay. B is the number in front of x, so that's 5. And c is the number by itself, so that's 5. Okay. So now I'm ready for the quadratic formula. Write down the quadratic formula on your paper. So the quadratic formula is x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And if you need to pause the video and write that down, please do. Remember, if you got this quadratic formula memorized, you get a bonus point on your test. Okay. Next thing we're doing is we are going to pop these numbers into our equation. So we know a is going here and here. B is going here and here. And finally, C is going here only. Okay, so pause the video, put the numbers in the equation. So when I plugged it in, I got x equals the opposite of 5 plus or minus the square root of 5 squared minus 4ac, 4 times 1 times 5, all over 2 times 1. So I'm ready to simplify this. So I'm going to do this in 3 parts. I'm going to simplify this part right here. I'm going to simplify this part and this part. So when we get this problem, we know we're going to have, we know we're going to have some number in front right here. We know we're going to still have the plus or minus, we're still going to have the square root, and we're going to have some number down here. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is the opposite of 5. So the opposite of 5 is negative 5. Okay, next up, I've got to type this whole thing into my calculator. So go ahead and pause the video and type it in your calculator. When I typed it in, I got 5. Okay, and then I've got to do the bottom. I've got to do 2 times 1, which gives me 2. Okay. Now, my next step is always to simplify the square root. Okay, so I got to simplify that square root. So, square root of 5, I look at my perfect squares. Square root of 5 is between square root of 9, which is plus or minus 3, and square root of 4, which is equal to plus or minus 2. So I'm going to check just these numbers. So I'm going to try 5 divided by 4. And when I type that in my calculator, I got a decimal. Remember, I'm looking for a whole number. So that is not, does not fit evenly into it. Square root of 4 doesn't fit evenly into square root of 5. The only number left is square root of 1, which really makes no difference. So that means that this is totally simplified and I'm done with this problem. I've got 2 answers. My first answer is negative 5 plus square root of 5 over 2. And my second answer is negative 5 minus square root of 5 over 2. So those are my 2 answers. Hope you enjoyed.